Hello and welcome to another episode of Treasure Hunting America. I'm your host, Mark Hendricks. For the next half hour, we'll share some amazing stories of everyday treasure hunters across the country. As a young boy, Mark Jenkins started treasure hunting by digging up coins on the playground. Then at 9 years old, he got his first metal detector, and that's when the real fun began.
In 1977, I believe it was, when I first started, I was kind of tired of digging around in the playground and searching for coins and then waiting for 2 weeks and getting them returned from the principal. Somehow or another I saw somebody metal detecting or something somewhere. In 1977, at 9 years old, I got my very first metal detector. It was a White's 5000D. It sure dug a lot of nails for me. And I learned quite young that not to get discouraged of all the trash you get. I can't explain it. I mean, I remember because I was so young and I could think of all the treasures I was going to find and how rich I was going to make it. And of course, that's every kid's dream. Eventually, you know, I started finding stuff. Basically, the first time I did go out, I did get a 1916 Canadian dime. Then I used to go out quite a bit with my dad, and he would take me to different parks and find lots of wheat pennies and quite a few silver coins back then. It's hard to remember exactly what I found. I searched many places since that time, and each time I get out, it's like a new adventure.
Being that Mark began metal detecting at an early age, he decided to get his daughter involved even from the time she was an infant.
My daughter has been with me since she was born, basically. I used to put her on my back and go out metal detecting down at the beach and at the parks, and she was always with me when I was out metal detecting. And even if it was night, late at night, cold winter, I'd bundle her up and she'd be sleeping on my back, and it was great. And you know, it's kind of been a bonding that we've done throughout our lives. These up here happen to be things that my daughter has won in the past 12 years of her life, basically, because she's been brought up and born into the metal detecting world. And so she gets to enter these different hunts and competitions. She's won several medals and several trophies. Other people should be doing this, I would think, mainly because it's a good history lesson. You learn about everything you find. I mean, you could pick up a nail. If you see it at Square, you know it's been there for quite a few years. You get different items, you know, it tells you different things. A bottle cap, a whole bunch of bottle caps. Hey, you know, people had a lot of good times there in that area, and you can still find some good stuff through that. You just got to be patient. Other things you can learn is you can learn about history, about the area, what went on. You can write stories, come up with stories with things like that. This here is one of my favorite, or my most favorite find that I've ever had. Happens to be a cache of badges. I was out with a couple of my friends. We were hunting at a ghost town. Probably about 5 minutes into it, I got a good signal, and I looked down and I saw something. And so I reached down to pick it up, and it was attached to some cloth of some sort. I thought maybe I'm pulling up a dead person, but it kind of scared me a little bit. And I pulled a little bit harder, and I could feel another one. So I just, you know, I realized right there's more than one. And then I couldn't tell exactly what it was, except for I could see that they were badges. And so I rolled them up in a ball and I carried them back to the car. So I went back the next day, actually. They had dropped a tree over the area where I found this. And so I figured, okay, well, they'll probably have it cleared up the next day. And sure enough, I went back the next day and there was 4 feet of dirt missing out of that area. So I think the only day I could have even found this was the day that I did find it.
Welcome back to Treasure Hunting America. Mark Jenkins hunts all over the Seattle area, but his favorite place is Luna Park, a very historical and beautiful location just in view of the Space Needle.
Okay, right now we're at Luna Park, and this is where one of the biggest sideshow or attractions used to be in Seattle area. Around the 1907 is when it was built. There was a roller coaster and Ferris wheel. In 1907, they actually had an airplane flying thing here, so all the activity was right in this general area. It's kind of a remake of what Coney Island was. There's been over 20 gold coins found out here that I know of. There's been all kinds of tokens, trinkets, you name it, that is turn of the century, you'll find it out here. One of the reasons why I'm starting in this area is because just recently they tore down a bulkhead, and all these rocks haven't been exposed for a long time, and that's usually where you look for coins and stuff. In fact, some of the most valuable things I ever found were right off the corner right down here. One of the things I found out here, which is just kind of interesting, is this barber quarter in this rock here. I know barber quarters are normal, but to find it like that makes it a little more unique. The reason why I'm hunting this area is because of where the barnacle line is at. That indicates where the sand normally is. And along this beach here, the sands change constantly. And so the further down it is along this line, gives you a better chance of finding something that could be really good. You can look up and down the beach, you don't see where it's down as low as this spot right here. So it gives you a good indication to start right in this point right here. You have to be there enough times to understand it. You can't just walk out there and think you know where it is. You have to really learn to read it. Because things change daily. I've seen areas change within 4 feet within 2 days. What I'm trying to do right here is I'm trying to search the lowest spots that I can find. And right along the sides of the rocks, quite often, is where you find the coins, because they have a tendency of, with the sand changing, going underneath the rocks. It doesn't even hurt to move rocks around sometimes. This wrench here was a thing, what I thought was going to be my last find of the year of 2004. I had probably about an hour left of sunshine, or daylight I should say. I thought, oh, I'm not going to find anything else. There was no other signals around the area. So I did keep hunting for about 5-10 minutes more. And then I did seem to come up with one other slight difference of an item. But this gold ring right here, a gold diamond ring, which I think is probably my best ring I've ever found throughout the years. And I think I just went out in a blast last year at the end of the year with this. One of the things that I find that's intrinsic is that I can help the environment. Lead has a tendency of leaching into the ground. It can do all kinds of damage. And people hear about groundwater that has high lead contents. Well, by removing some of the lead when we're out metal detecting, you're doing the ground a good favor. You're doing the rivers a good job and helping protect things. Removing the trash, you can always recycle that stuff.
With Mark's extensive history in metal detecting, his greatest joy comes in teaching children about the hobby.
When I teach kids, which I do for metal detecting, that's the first question I ask them, and always get the same first answer. Is to find treasure. And in a sense, everything you find is treasure. So it's enjoyable.
With so much treasure in his collection, Mark's ultimate goal is to find something not too many other treasure hunters are looking for.
My ultimate find would be something like going to some ghost town or someplace I've done research on, and to find in a mason jar somebody's diary, a story of somebody, something that I could just learn a lot of information from. I would think that would be the most interesting, the most fascinating thing I could ever do.